Hey there folks, and welcome back for another video. I'm your host CDB, or you can call me Chris, and today I'm very excited to be using Spartacus by Ariana and Evans, Sneaky Pete Charcalis's shop. He's not really sneaky, I just like to call him sneaky because it's fun. And it's, if you haven't seen that show on Netflix, Sneaky Pete, it's pretty cool. Anyway, Spartacus is a Creed Aventus inspired scent. It smells like Creed Aventus. Oh, Creed Aventus is my favorite fragrance. It's just fantastic. I absolutely love it. Scent strength on this for me is about, I call it about 4.5 out of the tub. Slightly under medium, I would say, but still quite noticeable. The cost, I'm a member of the Shaving Shop Club. It was $14.39 for 4 ounces. That comes to $3.59 an ounce, which on the IMCDB cost chart is in the thumbs up territory. Now, I think if you're not a member and you buy it elsewhere, it might be a couple of dollars more depending on where you get it. But really nice scent on this soap. Take a look at the ingredients right there before we get started. And as you can see, there's some nice ingredients. Ariana and Evans, and pretty much anything Pete makes is a good quality soap. We're also going to be using the Ariana and Evans synthetic brush. I love these longer handle styles. Really nice. A brush that I really like. And we're going to use the Speed Stick by Ariana and Evans, which is a pre-shave. It's pretty soft relative to other pre-shaves. And last but certainly not least, we're going to be using the RazoRock Lupo DLC, which is really one of my favorite shavers, even though I've only used it a handful of times. It's just super smooth for me. The blade, diamond edge. And I don't remember how many shaves I have on this blade, so if it gets rough, we'll just change it right in the middle of the shave. Thank you, Aaron from Canada, for sending that blade. All right, let's wet the face, and then we'll apply a little bit of this Slick Stick by Ariana and Evans. I don't know how much this runs. I don't recall off the top of my head. It is pretty soft, so you don't need to really mash it down too much. And I'm just going to put on enough to get a little bit going there. And I think with pre-shaves, at least for me, pre-shaved soaps, I like to actually add a little water and sort of rub them in a little bit, because I have noticed that with some, if you don't, and you lather over top of it, if you don't really scrub, there'll be like a sort of a thick film of soap underneath that can clog the razor. So I like to put a little water on it and rub it in just a little bit, just to break up that thick layer. And then I will lay a lather over top of it. I hope everyone is doing well. I want you guys to remember that today at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, United States, I'll be doing another YouTube live stream, and I'll put the URL below. Of course, you can just come back to the channel here when it starts, and I'll be answering questions and just cracking wise. And I did 2 live streams because I realized there were people in Europe and abroad that are in very different time zones from us here in the United States, or at least on the East Coast time. And I wanted just to try to accommodate people, because I know we have a lot of wonderful viewers and fellow wet shavers and fellow YouTubers for that matter over in the UK and all over Europe and India, all over the world really, which is really super cool. And I love interacting and learning from all the wet shavers out there, the gents in Sweden, the gents in the UK, India, you know. I'm going to obviously not name every single country. Greece, you name it, there are people who watch. And so I just think that's super cool and I love it. So we're going to get going with our Lupo, which is a terrific razor for me. About medium aggression, I would call it, but super smooth. Smoothness is its attribute as far as I'm concerned. And it's really, for me, one of those razors I can just relax, enjoy myself, and have a really nice, comfortable shave, not threatening whatsoever. And I think that's terrific. You know, that's what I like to do. is just enjoy my shaves and chat, you know, and talk to you fine folks. I want to mention a channel today that I have not showcased as of yet, but that I'm remedying that today. The channel is Dave Card's channel. Now, Dave, I think is from the UK, if I'm not mistaken. And Dave, sorry if I'm getting that wrong, but I think he's from the UK. I only recently discovered Dave because somebody told me somebody recommended it, and I don't remember who it was, so sorry. But anyway, I checked out one of his videos, and it was quite good. And I said, I'm going to subscribe to Dave. I'm going to call him Diamond Dave, you know, like David Lee Roth. He's like the UK Diamond Dave. I saw a picture where he had a goatee. Right now he doesn't. I thought that looked pretty good on you, Dave. Anyway, Dave has a video that I just watched recently, and it's a must-see. It is absolutely must-see. He does a Chevette shave. Shavette, if you will. Shavette, whatever you want to call it. And in the time that it took me to even talk about what I was going to use, he was done. It was like 2 minutes and 22 seconds. I think he did 3 passes with a Shavette. And he killed it. You know, he just absolutely killed it. Now think about that, folks. Think about that. And the other thing that I noticed, and I want to point out, is that he did not spend all day lathering. He worked up a usable lather, and he went to shaving with a Shavette, which is, in my opinion, having used straights and Shavettes a little bit, Shavettes for me were more difficult than straights. I found the straight to be a little bit more forgiving. Shavettes were, you know, a fair amount more difficult for me. And so generally, I think they're, you know, the margin for error with Shavettes very low. Anyway, so he makes his lather, and it is, you know, it is pretty thin, but it's slick. And he does 3 passes, and you know, it's not a Santa Claus voluminous lather. And you know, you hear the guys talking about high structure, low structure, and all that kind of stuff. I don't concern myself with that whatsoever, as you know, because I know exactly the type of lather that I need to make. And I'm generally pretty successful with it. I don't cut myself a lot. I have cut myself more recently, I think, than I ever have. But anyway, I have many, many videos, and you can watch them, and you'll notice that generally when I'm shaving with the tools that are familiar to me and the ones that I like, that I do pretty well in terms of not cutting myself or getting no nicks, cuts, creepers, weepers, irritation. That's what I say, you know. If I get no nicks, cuts, weepers, creepers, irritation, then I'm happy. That's my goal for every single shave. Among my goals is not to have the best looking lather that everyone else likes. You know, that's not my objective. My objective is to get the kind of shave that I want to get and pass on some information. So one of the reasons I'm mentioning Dave's channel and highlighting it, besides the fact that I like Diamond Dave, I've been, you know, like I said, I've subscribed, and I really like his videos. Seems to be a nice gent. One of the reasons I mentioned him is because you must watch that video. I'm going to link it below. And look at that lather and look and watch the clinic, the absolute clinic that he puts on Chevette shaving. And most guys would look at that lather and go, oh, it's a terrible lather. You know. You know, every time I hear that, I want to stick a bottle in whoever's saying it mouth, you know. Shut up, you know. Anyway, watch the clinic that he puts on and look at the lather. It's just slick. That's all he needs. He needs that little bit of film and that slickness and just a slight, ever so little bit of protection. And he nails that shave in 2 minutes, 22 seconds. That's mind-boggling. So that says 2 things. One, he is very skilled with Chevettes. Diamond Dave needs a diamond encrusted Chevette. And if I can find one, we'll get it. Or maybe we'll have to get someone with a bedazzler, get a shavette, and put a bunch of fake stones on it for Diamond Dave. Because he just kills it. And so I also noticed that some of the other European, I'm thinking you have the Swedish gents like Frank, Maddie, Johan. A lot of those guys don't seem to worry too much about the best looking lather. Like, they make the lather that works for them. And that's really what I'm trying to drive home here is you make the type of lather that works best for you. And do that all the time. Now, if that happens to be fluffy and voluminous and all that, then that's good if it works for you. My lathers aren't nearly as wet as a lot of people would like, but as you can see here, there's still plenty of residual slickness, and that razor just glides with no problem whatsoever. It works, and you cannot argue with what works. Now, each shaver needs to determine what type of lather works best for them and what type of lather works best for your skin and, more importantly, for your technique, the way that you shave. All right, so if you tend to apply more pressure, you might need a little more cushion. You might need a little more protection. If you have a light touch, you don't need as much. But you need to figure that out. So when you're watching YouTube videos, it is very important that you understand that you do not be discouraged if your lather isn't picturesque, if you're getting crazy killer shaves, If your shaves are knocking out of the park and you're having outstanding shave with no nicks, cuts, weepers, creepers, irritation, no bubbles, no troubles, as I like to say, do not worry about it. Do not concern yourself with it. And do not be discouraged, I should say, if someone trolls you on your lather. Because when they do it to me, I say, how did the shave go? Did you watch the shave? Because that's what it's about, folks. Now, that said, there are some guys like Chris Madden from Another Cut Above and Jack from the Virtual Groom Room who make terrific looking lathers, and it works well for them. But both of them freely and willingly say, I don't have to do this. They like doing it. It is part of their ritual. And so they make a really nice looking, I would call it picturesque lather every time. And they spend a fair amount of time doing it, and they just like doing it. Both of them will tell you, you don't have to do it. So the reason I mention all this is I don't want anybody to be discouraged if they don't get a Chris Madden or a Jack lather, And also, these lathering competitions, for me, when I do it, it is for chat and fun. I don't care whatsoever whether when we're being judged, if someone else has a better looking lather than me. Because for me, it's about shaving. Lathering is something you do to get to the shave, and it feels good. Like me, I'm a painter. It just feels good on my face, And I don't always use the amount of water that other people like to use, but it works, it works for me. I'm adding a little water now just for the heck of it, just because I'm spending a little extra time here. But just don't be discouraged. That's really the message I want to send to you. Do not be discouraged, because I can tell you right now, this lather that's on my face is not picturesque, but in this brush, it is extremely creamy down there. And now that I've added a little bit of water, it's a little bit thinner than it was. And I can just about assure you that this pass is going to go well. And if you watch my videos over the years, and there's some, probably 1,300, you won't see very many videos where I get nicks, cuts, weepers, creepers, irritation. And that is the goal, folks, isn't it? Isn't that why we come? Isn't that why we end up here? We want to get great shaves. We want to enjoy it. And the reason I mention this, and I mention Dave, Diamond Dave, is I want everyone to understand that if your lathering style isn't a lather champion, you know, like would be judged by others as a lather champion, but you're getting the best shaves of your life, do not worry about it. You see the pictures with the creamy lather, and that is great. It looks good. It works well. But ultimately for me, it is always about how did the shave go? You know, it's kind of like the great lathers is kind of like in a boxing match where you see a guy and he's got a very flashy ring entrance. He's got all the music. He's wearing a Grim Reaper suit, you know, and he comes out, he's dancing around. Everybody's like, ooh wee. And then he gets punched one time and he falls to the canvas. And so all that showmanship didn't mean anything if you get knocked out. And so that's my approach to lathering is I want the shave, the result, you know. When the fists are flying, I want to be, you know, ducking and moving and firing back. I don't want to be laid out on the canvas after I dance for 10 minutes lathering, you know. That's my approach. And the reason I mention that is because I don't want you, because I have gotten comments and questions over the years, you know, I'm just having trouble with my lather. It doesn't look like the guys on YouTube. And I'm like, how's the shaves going? And they'll say, oh, going very well. I said, are you getting any irritation? Nicks, cuts, creepers, weepers? No? Don't worry about it. What are you doing? You know, dude, you're getting great shaves. You're hitting all the marks, you know? Don't worry about it. And that is the only reason to mention this. This is not a criticism of the guys who take personal pride in making a great lather, like especially Jack and Chris. No, I'm not knocking them. So I don't want anyone to try to misinterpret what I'm saying. I am not criticizing them. They will tell you, again, they do it because they love to do it. And it's a personal challenge to them. And I think it's great. I love watching them do it. I think they do a terrific job. But a lathering competition doesn't shave anybody. Lathering is just lathering, and shaving, when you're actually using your steel, you know, that's when you find out whether your lather was good or not. Because at the end, if we get a shave like this, it's a doggone good lather. And that's all there is to it, the proof, you know. So, okay, that was fantastic. I had a lot of fun. Let me rinse real quick. We'll come back and get to the post. Stay tuned. And all right, here we are back with our Lancaster. These will be coming back up soon, I think. So make sure you follow Lancaster RazoRock on Facebook and Instagram if you're interested. And go watch my video on that if you would like. Really, really nice. It just wicks that moisture right off your face. That's one of the reasons that I really like it. Let me set that aside there. There we go. Okay, so let's hit it with a little Humphreys. This is cucumber melon. And again, I say every day, it's for me a little bit less enjoyable than Thayer's, but it's not irritating in any way. I just don't really like the scent all that much. Okay, let's talk quickly about what we use before we get to the post. We use Spartacus by Ariana and Evans, and of course we used our Ariana and Evans brush. This is a really, really it's what you would expect from Ariana and Evans. Good soaps, good aftershaves, good everything. In fact, I've never had a problem with any of Pete's products whatsoever. We use the Speed Stick. It is pretty soft. Don't muscle it. Just, you know, go easy. It'll provide a nice pre-shave for you. I'm obviously a big fan of Pete's and his work, and I'm happy for his success. He had a hard start, but, you know, now he's stabilized and doing well and making these great products. Crazy good scent on Spartacus. Check it out if you love Creative Ventus, or if you've never used it before and you just want to try it. It is really good, no question about that. The Lupo is once again excellent for me. Nice, I would call it close to medium shaver. The blade, which will be the last time we use this blade. The Diamond Edge by, excuse me, who's this made by? It says made by Supermax. Was pretty good. It's made in India. I got, you know, 3 solid shaves out of it, so it's ready to be retired. But the Lupo stainless DLC was was really nice. And we're going to use fine platinum today, and then we'll show you the cologne after that. Fine platinum is nice. It doesn't stick around like the old version. And I mentioned this in another video. The original one they came out with, you could just put on the aftershave and it would last a good long time. This one does not. However, it smells great and I like it. I like fine aftershaves. Some people don't. I do. Very, very nice. But in order to address the shortcomings of the fine longevity, and believe me, I have the EDT too, and the fine EDT in platinum does not hang around either. This one right here, this Armaf Club de Nuit Intense Man, it brings it. So you give yourself a burst, you know, or something like that. Maybe hit it with another burst on the way out. And several hours later, you're still rocking strong. It is fantastic. The opening is really, really bright and citrusy, and then it calms down a little. But this is a very good price. It's about somewhere around 30 bucks, which is the same price as the fine EDT. This is way better. So get this one if you're trying to decide between this one and the fine EDT. This one has much, much more staying power. I think I mentioned in the last video, I put this one on like 4 o'clock one morning, and I had a meeting at 11, and someone said, "Boy, you smell nice," because of this. This is a terrific Creed Aventus-like scent for around 30 bucks, and I'll put an Amazon link for you below if you're interested. Thanks everybody for watching. Reminder, the live stream today now, or excuse me, what is the date? 11th? The 11th of April, 3 p.m. 2020, in case you're watching this video years to come. Live stream on YouTube. Be there or be nowhere. Until next time, I want to remind you, it's your shave, do it your way, and God bless.